You are a clinical psychologist. What led you to focus on alcohol habits?
But you're not changing, you're choosing. You're choosing not to change. You're choosing to stay as you are. You start having less and less urges to grab that drink.
What's one small step that someone can take today to rethink their relationship with alcohol?
This is working even with people that didn't have the intention, which is really great news because we were not expecting that.
Silvia, you are a clinical psychologist. What led you to focus on alcohol habits?
Alcohol it's been such a journey for my body. Like I've had a lot of gut issues. So of course the first thing that I had to cut out of my life was alcohol. And it was not very difficult for me. Like I wasn't that much of a drinker. But because of these gut issues, I I just decided to make healthier habits in my life in general. Like I just realized why was I drinking in the first place? Why was I um putting that in my mouth, Because it didn't really help me. And I it helped me realign with my values. So now I just help people understand where they stand with alcohol and to have a better relationship with it. Again, I personally chose to not drink, but I also help people to embrace a moderation journey to exactly have a better relationship with alcohol and be able to choose to have alcohol instead of only doing it out of habit. So for me, yeah, it's been a long journey, and unfortunately, I've suffered quite a lot physically and mentally to be where I am today. But it like because of that, I also have more tools to help other people that might be in similar situations.
So you were experiencing gut issues and maybe some other health issues as well, and that led you to removing alcohol. And were you
Mhm.
able to overcome those issues?
Yeah, fortunately, I took antibiotics. I did a very strict diet, took supplements for a very long time. It took like over a year to feel healthy, like properly healthy again, and be able to eat everything, right? And the key for me was my doctor told me the gut issues not only have happened for bad habits, they've also happened because of your emotions. They're trapped emotions. This is stress, it's anxiety. So you need to work on that and like deal with those emotions because if not, that those issues, those gut issues, are going to come back eventually because it's a trigger, right? The emotions are a trigger, and I know it's quite ironic because I was studying my master's degree at that point to be a clinical psychologist, and I remember leaving the doctor's office thinking, oh my God, like I I am becoming sick because of my emotions and I help people deal with their emotions, right? And it's always easier to help other people than to help yourself. So it took me a while to understand how I could help myself and get out of that cycle of emotions that were harming my body because of course and unpleasant emotions are necessary. Like we're supposed to be sad, we're supposed to be angry. They're telling us different things, right? Those emotions are part of life, but we need to embrace them and we need to accept them as part of the journey as well. Because if not, if you trap them like I did in the past, they can be very, very harmful. So it can be quite a long process to understand that, but doing it little by little, you realize that dealing or understanding all the emotions and understanding why you're having those emotions is a very powerful tool for, well, as a self, like for self growth and self knowledge.
A lot of people reach for alcohol when they feel unpleasant emotions, even pleasant
Mhm.
emotions, really, whether it's to celebrate or it's because, you're sad or angry or frustrated. It's very normal to use alcohol to either numb or suppress. What is actually happening in the body when you do use something like that when instead of feeling those emotions?
The way to like the way for those emotions to leave or to go away is to deal with them, to sit with them and understand, okay, where are you coming from? Why are you here? Let me work on that, right? To think of it as if they were a person, right? If you think of anxiety, and it's easier to picture it, right? Um, the problem is when we have alcohol to deal with that anxiety, that fear, that emotion, we're not dealing with it. We're not sitting down with it and understanding what's going on. We're just numbing it and we're avoiding it. So eventually it will come back because you haven't dealt with it. And it will come back and sometimes even stronger. And at one point, you just think, oh my God, why am I feeling so anxious? Or why am I feeling so angry right now? Right. And um, if you ask people on a hangover, what are the emotions that you're feeling? Normally they're feeling very, very uncomfortable emotions because all the emotions that they were feeling or that they were suppressing the day before, they just come back stronger the day after. I remember that when like I used to drink a long time ago. I didn't really have very physical hangovers, but I had very emotional hangovers. I would be a wreck. I would be like nearly crying for all day and just I couldn't understand why. I was like, I was okay. I nothing happened in me, right? So what alcohol does is um it just triggers those emotions in a more like unnatural way. They just come and they are like with so much power and so much strength that then some people just don't know how to cope with them and they just it's a cycle of drinking to cope with them, but eventually like it's not a healthy tool to do that, so that's not a way that they're going to go away.
Oh, yes. I spent pretty much all of my 20s numbing and suppressing my emotions with alcohol and with partying. And ironically, I had, several relationships during that decade of my life. And now that I'm in my 30s, I reflect on it and it's like I never actually fully let myself feel or recover from those emotions from those different relationships. I was just suppressing,
Mhm.
which ended up manifesting in all the skin issues I had years later. It's sometimes, these things can get buried in the body for years. And then once they have the chance, once, you're in a safe environment and you stop suppressing, then they all come out at once.
I felt exactly the same when I had all my gut issues. I was like, because obviously the gut has a lot of connection with the rest of the body, and I started having a lot of acne as well. And it was acne that hurt, like my face was hurting, and I had never had this type of acne, and I just couldn't understand what was going on. And I completely understand how you were feeling because it's so frustrating because you're like, there's nothing I can do apart from having patience and let my body heal with time and obviously working on it, right? But
Mhm.
we don't have a magic pill to make everything disappear and just tomorrow you're going to be all right. It takes patience. Anything related to health, both mental and physical, takes time. But that's the beauty of it too. It's I think good things take time, and it just creates way more growth.
Yeah. So this whole journey led you to joining forces with an incredible company called My Dry 30. Could you tell us
Mhm.
about your role there?
When I was on my journey to understand a bit more what had happened to my gut health and all that. Obviously, it took a lot of years for me after like I was healing in therapy and all that. I became very interested in the relationship between the mind and the body, because literally what happened to me was because of that relationship, right? And it was something that during my bachelor's and my master's, they had like teachers had mentioned it, but they hadn't really um we hadn't really explained a lot about it. So that's when I started researching on other um complementary practices to implement in therapy, like mindfulness, meditation, and then I discovered hypnotherapy. And at first, when you think of hypnosis or hypnotherapy, like everyone thinks it's just someone swinging a pendant in your face and just like clicking their fingers and saying, okay, you're feeling very sleepy and now you're going to go rob a bank, right? And this is not at all how it works. And after searching a bit more about it and listening to professionals explain a bit more about it. And I actually saw that in my university, some of my teachers had workshops in hypnotherapy, and I went to a couple of them after years after I finished my masters. Um, I started getting more in touch with what it was, Ed, and the relationship that it had with the body and the mind. And um, because of all the healthy habits that I was trying to implement in myself, both emotional and physical. I found the My Dry 30 project when it was like, it's an app, but it wasn't even aired. It was very like at the beginning of it. And I contacted them when like it was pretty much like two people, and I just contacted them saying, hey, well, I would like to collaborate, blah blah, and oh, the rest is history. I'm here today. I've been pouring my life in this project because I want to help people have the tools that I didn't have, or that took me that long to find, um, and well, in a very accessible way and useful way.
Hypnotherapy. So what
Mhm.
does that look like? And how can that help users make lasting changes?
Hypnotherapy, making it like explaining it quite quick, is you're going to go into a very relaxed state. Obviously, you're going to be aware of everything that's going on around you. You're just not going to lose all consciousness. Um, you are still like listening and understanding everything that's going on around you. It's just that because you're going into a deep state of relaxation, you're all that noise that we hear in our minds, all those problems, all that stress is gonna be dialed down. It's gonna go like away, or it's gonna be reduced, and you'll be more able to get in touch with your inner self. And in that deep state of relaxation, you're more open to suggestions. So if I say, you're not going to drink alcohol, instead, you're going to go for a walk, or you're going to write a little bit, or you're going to call a friend, right? But you're not going to deal with your emotions with alcohol. Then, little by little, those suggestions get like get into your mind, and you start having less and less urges to grab that drink, right? So obviously um, it helps changing the habits, because sometimes we have habits that are so strong in us that we think that we can never change them because we've been doing them for years and years and years. And willpower, it's tricky. Like motivation is very tricky. Like we can always be trying to be healthier, but then something happened and then we're like, oh, we're just like tossing everything in the bin and like going back to our old habits because it's the easy route, right? So with hypnotherapy, we help people be more in touch with their inner selves, their values, their goals, and do it in a more relaxed state. and not doing it from those spikes of emotions.
What I'm hearing is hypnotherapy is a tool that you can use when you're experiencing uncomfortable emotions or when you're in unideal situations. And instead of falling back on an old habit or on a habit that no longer serves you, you create a new one and you rewire your brain to now engage in this new habit rather than this old one that is not serving you. So
Exactly.
so instead of reaching for a glass of wine or a beer, you take a walk like you gave an example of. How many times or how long does it take until we kind of replace that behavior with the new one?
It really depends on the person. It depends on also the willpower that they have to change that habit. It depends on so many things. I would say everybody is um like everybody can be hypnotized. It's not something uncommon. In fact, we do self-hypnosis all the time. We just don't know. How many times have we been driving from work to home, and it's a journey that we know, like, with our, like, if we were driving with our eyes closed, we could drive, right? So how many times have we been driving, and then we arrive home and we're like, oh my god, when did I get home? Like, I don't remember leaving work. So that is trance, that is hypnosis. You're being hypnotized by yourself, but you are in that state of trance that we call it, right? So it's a very common state for the mind. So what we do is through 15-minute like listenings, people can just put their headphones in and just listen to that. And these suggestions, this relaxed sort of meditation helps you with all those habits. However, for some people, it might take 3 days, but for some people, it might take 20. It really depends on the resistance of the people have, because obviously people, like, some people are not in touch with their emotions because it's scary. It can be very scary. So if you put barriers, then you're not going to be hypnotized. Because if you're consciously saying, no, I don't want to be here, I don't want to listen to that, I'm not going to be hypnotized, you're not going to be hypnotized. You're not allowing your mind to get into that state. And sometimes it's not even conscious. Sometimes we want to be hypnotized, but we're just not ready for it. So we need to be graceful with what our body tells us and what our body feels. Because maybe if you're feeling that resistance, you don't, like, you should start with simple meditation of breathing in, breathing out, and maybe, like, I don't know, 3 minute, 4 minute audios from YouTube, which you can find very easily, right? So, however, our the hypnotherapy that we offer is only 15 minutes because we understand that longer than that, it's quite difficult to just be in that state of relaxation for like an hour, right? It requires a lot of practice. So we chose it to be 15 minutes because we believe it's very powerful and it's accessible for a lot of people. And for till now, we haven't seen many people that have had problems with it. On the contrary, people are like, yeah, I really love these audios. I feel like they're so short, right?
If we were to break this down, step one would be to be open and receptive to the process, to making the change. Step two, you sit down, you open the app, put in your headphones. Is there a specific time? Do you want to listen to this hypnotherapy when you're feeling that emotion? Or can you do it first thing in the morning, last thing before bed? Does that make a difference?
It doesn't make a difference really, or you can use it however you prefer. I always tell people, use it as your own tool. It's flexible, right? And it's true that it's targeted for emotions that come around when you stop drinking alcohol, or when you stop using alcohol as a tool to deal with those emotions, right? So it's more targeted towards that. Um, so it could be a good way to use it when you're feeling those urges, to just go into the app and listen to that 15-minute long hypnotherapy. That is a very good way to do it. If not, you can do it every day when you wake up. First thing in the morning, you just put the headphones in and do it while in bed, or last thing in the night, or during your lunch break. Really, like, it's whenever you have 15 minutes on your own when you're not going to be bothered, it's a perfect time for you to just put the headphones in and let it sink. Because it's not like, the most important thing is that you do it consistently, that you create like a habit during those 30 days. You listen to um that hypnotherapy, because I don't think I mentioned it. My Dry 30 offers a program that for now is 30 days long. We're working on making it longer, but for now what we're offering is 30 days, where we suggest people that they stop drinking alcohol, and we help them with their urges with these hypnotherapy sessions that are 15 minutes long. And then we also have journaling, where we ask specific questions about a little bit about everything. And then we also have readings, 5-minute readings, they're not very long, about different topics related to all that. Like, for example, how, like, habit formation, and about how connection can help you, how being grateful can help you, and many, many other topics.
All of this is incorporated into the app?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so if someone's listening and they're interested and they're wondering how much time they need to set aside each day to be part of this program, you have 15 minutes for the hypnotherapy, 5 minutes for the journaling or for the reading, and then,
For the reading, yeah. And then we say that the journaling is 10 minutes, but that is as long as you wanted to make it. Like, if you don't have much time and you don't want to spend a lot of time on it, and you want to spend another 5 minutes, then that's completely fine. If you want to spend another half an hour, that's completely fine as well. Um, what what we are seeing, or what we're promoting, is 10 minutes, because you don't need more than 10 minutes to see the benefits that journaling has. And then you'll have 30 minutes a day for yourself, for your growth, for working on yourself, and to have better habits and become a better person, right? So we think that 30 minutes a day is quite doable. We understand that it's busy, like, we have very busy lives, but at the same time, we spend a lot of time doing things that they don't enrich us. Like, how many hours we spend scrolling on our phones, or binge watching Netflix, or just doing things that are not meaningful. So I'm not saying that people shouldn't do that. I do that every day. Like, it's part of, I suppose, modern life, right? Um, but instead of, I don't know, scrolling for an hour, you could scroll for half an hour, and then the other half an hour you can do this program, right? And the benefits that people see are, like, people see a lot of benefits. They see that they crave less alcohol. Even I always I'm fascinated by this story, that when we hadn't even started yet, and we developed all the content for hypnotherapy, and then we sent it to a woman that has a beautiful voice. She works like recording ads and other things like that. And yeah, we sent all the guides to her, and she was doing it like little by little. Like, she was recording once or twice per day, and obviously there's 30, right? And she's from Texas, and she always says that she's not a binge drinker, but she loves going to football matches, because it's a huge like culture down there. And um they just have beers always. Like, in football matches, everyone's having a beer, right? And two and three, right? And she always had beers in her fridge, because she was always ready for those days. And after a week, or after 10 days, of recording these sessions, she realized that her fridge had more beers than usual. And then she was surprised and she was like, oh, I don't have to restock because I still have beers. Does that mean that I have not been drinking? And then she realized, like on like that Monday, she was like, you're not gonna believe what's happening. I'm drinking less. And I didn't even have the intention to drink less. I was just doing it as my job, recording these audios. So that's when like the team was mind blown. We're like, this is working even with people that didn't have the intention, which is really great news because we were not expecting that, right? We were always thinking of people that had the willpower to make those changes.
Wow. So she was accidentally hypnotizing herself.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny how easily we can program our own minds.
Yeah, just by the things that we tell ourselves. So that's why we have to be very careful with the internal dialogue that we have with ourselves because it can have so much power and we treat ourselves so poorly and we just don't deserve it because life is hard enough sometimes and we should be safe and secure with ourselves and we should be our best cheerleaders and I don't know, it's just it frustrates me how much people and well everyone does it. Everyone tends to go into the negative of everything and just not focusing on all the positives in their lives and in themselves. And it's just a shame because people just have so much to offer.
What are some of the biggest challenges that people face when trying to either quit alcohol or cut back?
A big challenge is, well, there's a couple of challenges. First one is peer pressure, because obviously everyone's nosy, everyone wants to know why you're not drinking alcohol. And it's something that I've never understood. When you're not drinking alcohol, everybody's surprised. But it's pretty much the only thing that people ask like that. They're not going to say in another situation, oh, why are you not, I don't know, jumping off that cliff? It's just like, I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but everyone just assumes that you're going to drink. It's not really an option, right? So if you make the decision of not drinking, even if it's for only one day, everyone is surprised. Everyone thinks that you're either ill or pregnant or like something's going on, right? Um, so for me, it's very important to understand um, why you're doing it because when you connect with the why, with your purpose of this break or changing your habits, um, it can be very beneficial when tackling situations where people are going to ask. And to be honest, I've encountered many, um, like situations where people have asked me, "Why are you not drinking?" And I always say the same, or I always say, I just don't like drinking. It doesn't sit well on my stomach." And people are like, oh, "Okay, fair enough." And that's literally the end of the conversation. So sometimes we fear something that's not going to happen because literally the conversation is going to be 30 seconds. And we're fearing that conversation for hours and hours and hours. So, first, I always recommend have a short sentence like the one I just said that is adaptable to your position that you can say. And then people are just going to be satisfied with it because you've already responded and that's it. That's the first challenge, I would say, peer pressure. And another challenge is that once people start not drinking, they have cravings for other things. And a lot of like the easiest thing to do is to go and eat things like sugar, chocolate, sweets, candy. Like it's just so accessible, and we just crave that.
You just brought an interesting thought to my mind, which is people tend to be curious. So because it is so normalized for people to be drinking. If you're in an atmosphere where everyone else is drinking and you're not, people will often, want to know, well, why are you not drinking? And part of that might also be because maybe there's something inside of them that is a little sober curious, or has this subconscious knowing of like, I should probably not be drinking as well. And that may be, part of it. And especially now, I feel like there's like a bigger health movement going on, and that maybe it's becoming more socially acceptable to be more health conscious and to refrain from alcohol.
There's so many people that like are challenging the social norm in those ideas that were imposed by society in many aspects, but obviously alcohol is one of them. And it's very, very positive because then we are questioning it more. We understand why we're doing it and where, like, where we're connecting more with that why that I was talking about before, which is crucial. It's crucial to understand why you're doing it. Because if you're only doing it for peer pressure, but you don't even like alcohol, then what's the point, right? So the sober curious movement is very, very powerful.
You shared the story of the woman who recorded the hypnotherapies for the company. Do you have any more inspiring success stories that came from My Dry 30?
We've had positive reviews from people that have had less urges, especially with people that were trying to moderate their intake, because there's many programs that encourage sobriety, but there's not many programs that encourage or that help you um, experience or experiment on moderation, right? Because many programs just demonize alcohol and make you feel even guilty for having a drink. So we don't want anybody to feel guilty about any decisions that they make. Again, we understand that life gets hard sometimes. So, like, we just have to deal with it with the tools that we have. So, what we want to provide is healthier tools. But if you have a drink one day, that's not going to be the end of the world. And even if you want to have a drink one day, that's completely fine. We're here to have fun. Like, life is already hard enough. We're here to have fun as well. If you want to have a drink because you want to, because you're in the mood for a drink, then of course go for it. But again, don't do it out of habit, because that's when it's not beneficial for yourself.
What's one small step that someone can take today to rethink their relationship with alcohol?
It's very related to what I said, but for me, something that has helped me and that I always suggest to clients and people that I work with, um, is very simple. It's literally when you have the idea, you're having the idea of, okay, I want to have a drink, but then before going to the bar and buying it, stop yourself for 1 second and think, okay, why do I have why do I want to have that drink? Right? It all goes back to the why. But when you connect with the reason why you want to have that drink, then um yeah, it's just you make more aligned decisions, because just having that moment to pause and reconsider the situation, you're breaking the habit, right? You're breaking the automatic act of just like grabbing a drink and that's it. Even if you end up having that drink, you've reconsidered it. You've done it consciously. Like, okay, I want to drink. I want one drink and I'm going to have it. So it's a very, very powerful way to connect in with yourself and to be more aligned with your values.
What if someone says, well, I enjoy it. I enjoy having, 1 or 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night, or I enjoy going out and having shots of tequila. I Is there something in there maybe where the mind is telling them that so that they don't question it further and that they don't stop that behavior?
Yeah, changing behavior is very difficult, especially when we're not open to changing it. But even if we are, and even if we know that something is going to be more beneficial for us, it's very scary changing because we don't know what's going to happen. We just we just know that what's happening right now is working, or maybe not, but we know that we're existing. So why not just staying like that, right? But for me, there's a very powerful sentence that is, you're not changing, you're choosing. You're choosing not to change. You're choosing to stay as you are. You have the possibility and you have the opportunity to become a better version of yourself, a healthier version of yourself, and you're just choosing not to. So that is just staying in the same position for years, but like the thing is, like everything is changing constantly. So not adapting to change and not being able to change your own habits, like it's just not going to work in the future, because maybe they work now, but in 1 year or in 6 months or in 5 years, maybe they don't work, and you will have to reconsider everything. So I understand that change is very, very scary, but it also comes with a lot of growth and with a lot of self-development. And um, it's just an opportunity to also reevaluate the things in your life that you take for granted and understand why you have certain things in your life and the things that you need to empower as well. Like, for example, um, when we're stuck in a position and we don't really are open to change, um, for example, with alcohol, right? And dealing with emotions with alcohol, at the end of the day, just having that drink, that can have a very negative effect in your relationships, probably, because if, for example, you live with a partner, um, that partner is gonna want to share their emotions, their stories, anything that they have that it happened to them. But if you're numbing your emotions and if you're under the effects of alcohol, you are not able to be fully present in that relationship. So that habit, that maybe when you were single, it was fine because it was not affecting anybody. Now that you're with someone, um, is affecting the relationship, and it's breaking it in the end, you know? And how many people have broken up for habits that haven't been changed, you know? But not only alcohol, many, many others that people just try to stay the same. But like the thing is, nothing stays the same. So even though it's very scary, because I completely understand, I'm terrified of change sometimes too. I always break it down. Like, instead of seeing it as a massive ball in here in front of my face, because it's so big and it covers all my eyesight. I'm like, I can only see that it's too big, right? Um, I always try to take baby steps. Like, okay, what's the tiniest thing I can change towards that goal, right? And like even the tiniest things help. What I was saying before, stopping yourself before having a drink and reevaluating the situation. That is not a difficult step at all. And it has a huge impact. So having those baby steps is way less overwhelming and will lead to much more change.
I'll take an even a different perspective here, and say that whether you're single or in a relationship, no matter what, just if you're on this planet, I believe that alcohol is holding you back and that it is affecting everyone. So, because what it does is it stops you from living in your highest potential. This is from my own experience and from what I've witnessed of other people who've gone from drinking to either less drinking or no drinking, and the person that you can become along the way, because it suppresses, and yes, it suppresses your emotions, which suppresses all of you. And we are so powerful and we are so capable of things that we can only imagine and only dream of. But it's one of those things that it hooks you in, and it has strong teeth, and it will do what it can to keep you below your potential. And so I really admire companies like My Dry 30, because you're giving people the tool, you're empowering people with the tools that they need in order to overcome this and in order to live up to their highest potential. And yeah, it's really great that companies like that exist.
Yeah, thank you so much. All the team and I always try to think of all the ways that we can help people with it, right? Because in the end, we we live in this world where everything is accessible in our fingertips, right? But at the same time, there's some things that are difficult to find, or that maybe they're not difficult, or like they exist, but you just don't know where to start looking, right? So that's why we wanted to make everything, like all this, very accessible for people to just get on this journey and be able to experience a different part of themselves and understand where they're coming from, and their relationship with their own relationship with alcohol, and as you said, and all the relationships that they have in their lives, because the relationship with alcohol also affects all the connections, right? And that's why in the app we focus on every day those three things that I said before: hypnotherapy, journaling, and reading. However, we have some random days that we call connection days, that we also encourage people to connect with people that they haven't talked to in a very long time, like just drifted away because life gets busy, or to call a friend and tell them, like, thank you for everything that you've done for me, right? So that's two examples of many others. And um, these actions take two 2 seconds. You just grab your phone and like write a text, or like make a phone call, and like after 5 minutes, you've made the other person's day. You're happy as well because you've connected with this person, and you feel more attached to the people around you in your environment. And that is crucial. We need connection. We are, like, humans are just social, um like by nature. So we cannot, like, we're not going to be happy in isolation. We need that connection. We need those people around us. So that's another way that, for example, we understand that people have people that have been drinking a lot of alcohol, or not that much alcohol, might have um, impaired their relationships with, yeah, other people. So that's why we encourage them to make amends with on different things, right? And this is an example of many others.
Mhm. Yeah, even as you're speaking, I'm thinking of the people in my life, and I have some family members who I could have a closer relationship with, and I would love to have a closer relationship with. However, their relationship with alcohol is so strong that there's no room. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's not intentional on their end, and I'm sure it's not even a conscious behavior in that sense, but yeah, it can, you're having this relationship with alcohol that you may actually be replacing those deep human connections with that you could potentially have. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a shame because in the end, like life goes by and all those all those moments are lost opportunities, right? So that's why we encourage people to um make the change and make it now. You don't have to wait for your birthday or a new year or for a new month. If you do, that's completely fine. Like for example, if you want to wait till January because it's 20th of December, so it's only 10 days away, or 10 days away, it's fine. But you are always empowered to make change any day at any time, right? So yeah, everyone has the tools with the app, and there's many other good resources out there. I just encourage people to create change, because being stuck in the same place, like as a way of like as a conclusion of what I was saying before, being stuck in the same place will get you nowhere. Will always make you feel like you're stuck in a place that doesn't really exist anymore because everything else has changed.
Where can people find more about My Dry 30? Where can people go to learn more about My Dry 30? And where can they go to connect with you?
So they can always download the app, and we have a 7 day free period where they can see how the app is. They can see all the content that we have for those 7 days, and they can explore different options and see. Because apart from that, we give tools, and there's also professionals, psychologists like me, that can be contacted on there, and we can have like private conversations, private sessions. So we give the option for people to investigate the apps, or like learn a little bit more about it during 7 days. And then on the eighth day, it will ask for a subscription. However, I don't think it's expensive at all. Well, of course, I would say that, right? But it's not. It's very affordable, because we say it's $30 for 30 days, right? And to be honest, any bottle of wine that's a little bit good, it will cost you that. So instead of going to the shops to buy that bottle of wine, just get that subscription and see how your life changes. So yeah, that's where they can find us in the app. And we also have Instagram, TikTok, we have Facebook. And if they want to learn more about the program and more specifically, they can also go to our website. All this is My Dry 30 or My Dry 30 app. It's quite easy to find. And I'm also going to provide a discount for the app for your listeners, that it's going to be a 20% discount. So it's even cheaper than $30.
Oh, amazing. That will be in the description so that everyone can take advantage of that. I have two final questions for you. And the first one is, what is your number one health tip? So it can be diet, mindset, spiritual, emotional, just the one piece of advice you would like everyone to know.
There's so many, there's so many to choose from, but what I've been telling myself is something that I sort of said before. Patience is key. Patience will like it's wonderful to have patience, and it's so difficult as well. So just embrace that things take time, and that it's okay, that like things will pass, and you won't even realize it, and that time just goes by. So for me, the first health tip is just not take things too personally. Understand that, yeah, life goes by. Take things easy. Don't over stress about little things, because over stressing about these little things will like trigger so many emotions, and they will develop so many consequences in both your mind and your body. So it will impair all your health.
For your final question, you get to choose a number 1 through 100, and that will correlate to the question.
Oh, um, 48. That's very interesting.
What is one cause that you feel strongly about?
Well, if it hasn't been like obvious enough, I love helping people. I love being able to um yeah, just guide them into a better place with themselves and with the people around them, and just helping them create better connections with their loved ones, because yeah, like having a good life is key, and why not helping others if you have the tools, right?
Thank you so much for being here, Sylvia. This has been a pleasure, and I am so excited to play a part in supporting My Dry 30 and getting the app out there more and sharing a discount code for everyone that's listening. So make sure to take advantage of that. And thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
If you enjoyed that episode with Sylvia from My Dry 30, make sure to subscribe and come back next week for another episode with another amazing guest. Thank you for listening and have a beautiful day.